Image is important because it's the first impression of someone, but you can quickly lose that based on who you are. So the lasting impression is more important. The first impression allows you to create a lasting impression.
That's some wisdom we're dropping right there. Boom. When did you realize you were a leader?
You know, I've been doing this for 30 years. You lead in different ways throughout your different levels of maturation. Now, my personal belief is that you lead not based on what the background or anything a person is. You lead based on who they are, not what they are.
What do you enjoy most about being a leader?
Development of others. If you're a leader and you don't say people is the most important thing, I think you need to recheck yourself.
Well, and it's an opportunity for you as a leader to show vulnerability.
Absolutely.
And humility.
Humility is something that should be a common trait amongst leaders, because you might have people work for you, but they're just there for a paycheck. They're not there because they believe.
I'm really excited to hear your answer to this one. What leader, purpose-driven leader, dead or alive, would you like to have a cup of coffee with or play around a golf?
This one will shock you.
Talk about bottom line.
Yeah, that's beyond the bottom line.
Well, this is a really special day because this is the inaugural Beyond the Bottom Line for BUKU Branded. And it's fitting that I have the president of Rose Pest Solutions on today, because you are one of our, I mean, you're a great friend to me, a great supporter of Bernie's Book Bank, but also just one of our biggest clients. And just want to say thank you. The trust in the business means a lot. And we're sporting, I mean, these are sweet. Thank you so much.
BUKU Branded.
BUKU Branded did this.
Right there.
These are Peter Millar, which, by the way, I'm a big vest wearer, and I've been wearing this for like 5 minutes. And I must say, like, I've never felt better in a vest.
Well, there you go. Well, there's a word of caution, though, because if you unzip it and reach in the inside pocket.
Is there $1,000 in there?
No,
that you didn't tell me about?
No, there's not $1,000 in there. I got to find where it's at.
What's the trick?
Oh, sorry.
here?
There's a zipper pocket.
Yeah.
You have to unzip it on the
Oh,
left
this
inside.
is an added benefit, folks.
So it's got
look at this.
It's got a bottle opener in there.
Then there's a bottle opener in there. Check that
Now,
out.
here's my question,
Now,
though.
that's smart.
It does not flag at airport security, so maybe that's an extra benefit for you.
Yeah, true that. But anyway, thanks for being our first guest ever. This is historic. I'd love to start by just kind of telling us a little about you, where you started, and how you got to where you are today in a matter of 30 seconds. No, I'm just kidding. No, just I'd love to hear how you got here.
Well,
where were you born, that kind of stuff.
I was a child of two parents that my dad worked for GTE, which is now Verizon. I was born in Marion, Ohio, but my dad had relocated a bunch of times, relocated to Fort Wayne when I was in kindergarten. And then when I was in third grade, moved to Noblesville, Indianapolis. And that's where I did all my growing up. So from third grade until graduating high school there in Noblesville. Noble-Tucky, I think is what they called it back then.
Okay.
But, so loved growing up in Indianapolis. Now, I grew up an Ohio State football fan and an IU basketball fan. My dad went to IU, so I was the basketball fan of Bobby Knight.
That was easy to be.
1987,
Yeah.
Keith Smart is the hero. Yeah. I was cheering from the sidelines there.
Yeah.
Not from the sideline, but in my house.
So how old were you then?
So in 87, I was 13.
Okay.
Well, probably not 13. I was probably 12 when they won the national championship in March, but then turned 13 later in the year. I was loving life, and so I was a big Ohio State football fan, big IU basketball fan. Then it came time to go to college and realized, IU doesn't offer a very good education. That's a slam on IU, but decided to go to Purdue. No, I'm just kidding. So have a mother and father where both of their children, their two youngest children went to Purdue. So
you have two
I have an older sister. She's 5 years older, and a 15-year older brother.
Oh, wow.
So
that explains a lot.
Well, my mom was 19, and she was married, and they had a baby, and he ditched her when she was pregnant, never to be heard from again. So my dad actually stepped in right after my brother was born and then adopted him.
Wow.
So I guess that goes to show the character of my father. Took on a single mom and then adopted her child. And so he raised him as his own from when he was 1 till now he's 64.
What if I told you your promotional products could do way more than just promote your business? This is the Marine Layer Gym Bag. Love the vintage stripe. It's a retro shape. It's durable, cotton canvas, so you can just wipe that clean. It even has a pouch for your dirties. And look here, it says, oh hey, there's several decoration techniques that can be used on this bag. But beyond the bottom line, each item you purchase through BUKU Branded has a way bigger impact. If you want to connect with us, www.bukubranded.com.
How did you get in the pest control?
Pest control business was a fluke. So in this business, you're either born into it or you stumble into it. You don't target pest control. You know, you're not spending money for college and going, gosh, you know what I want to do? I want to kill bugs for a living.
Well, what's ironic about this whole conversation is that my degree is actually in entomology.
Yes, and so which you have nothing to do with.
We could be working together in different ways.
Exactly, and yet we have we never talk bugs.
Correct.
But the fun thing was, so I was in Chicago. My wife, I had just gotten married. My wife and I wanted to start a family, so I had left the job I was with and took another job with Terminex back then, and we got back to Indianapolis. So that was good in theory, but 2 years later, we found out we were pregnant, had our first child, Stuart, in February, and took a promotion to Northern California when I was, when he was just born. So I moved out there in April. We had him in February. And then they joined me in June. So we were out there for 4 years, then moved with Terminex 3 more times. Then they went private, and I'm a big guy on ethics and objectives and adhering to.
They went private or they went public?
They went private.
They went private.
They were public.
Okay.
The Service Master broke up, and they went private equity. And then, they just changed their objectives.
Changed a few things.
So I went to work for Michelin, took a break from pest control, went to work for Michelin North America on their service side, from the Mexican border up to Canada. And then a friend of mine wanted me to be a minority investor in a pest control company in Florida. So I invested, and the catch was I had to run the whole thing. So we grew that from about 12 million to 26 million in about 4 years. So it was a good, quick growth. But then here came some investors that wanted to buy it. So we sold, and then I moved myself and my family. We wanted our kids to get back to the Midwest. That's where we grew up. It's what we knew. So we got back to Chicago with Rose Pest Solutions, and been here ever since. That was 2017.
Yeah. Well, you landed in a good place.
We did. So everything happens for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, Rose to me, with the experience I've had with Bernie's Book Bank and now BUKU Branded, they walk the walk.
Yep, absolutely.
And I appreciate people and organizations that walk the walk. So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
The premise of Beyond the Bottom Line is really about meeting with leaders, not just business leaders, but all kinds of leaders. We all have our bottom line, but there's a lot of different ways you can get to your bottom line, or how you define your bottom line. And so we're going to kind of explore a few different topics around that. When did you realize you were a leader?
It's an interesting one. I think you lead in different ways throughout your different levels of maturation. And the one area I can probably point to is when my personal belief is that you lead not based on what the background or anything a person is. You lead based on who they are, not what they are. And I had a good friend when I was growing up. I went through many different religions, or should say Protestant faiths. So I was born Presbyterian, then we converted to Methodist, then back to Presbyterian, and then finally I went Episcopal. Then when I got married, I went Catholic.
Of course you did. Well,
so
that's funny.
I've experienced most everything.
My mom was Methodist. My dad was Catholic. What do you think I ended up?
Cametist.
That's good. No, Methodist.
So that kind of tells you the religious background. And so I was not Jewish, but my best friend was Jewish. And we were sitting outside in an assembly. I was 16 at the time, and I was just sitting there with him. And then these, maybe it goes back to the Noble Tucky comment, these two guys that were kind of off walked up.
They were those guys.
They were those guys. walked up to him, and he's sitting right next to me, and they're looking at him going, and they said, "Are you a Jew?" And he was reserved and quiet, and I said, "What does it matter?" And he looked at me and said, "Because he doesn't believe in Jesus." I said, "You're an idiot then." Absolutely, he believes in Jesus. You know, Jesus was a Jew, and they didn't know how to take that, so he walked away. Then he presented to tried to bully me, but I don't give in to bullies, and not that I'm advocating fighting. We didn't fight, but tried to bump. You just move out of the way, and then he runs into a locker.
You stuck up
for a friend, and then the guy kept bullying my friend. So I went to the principal, which he didn't want me to, but went to the principal, and those two boys got expelled. And we never heard from them again. And it was knowing even when it's best for the individual, you stand up for them, even if it's not something they want you to do, because it creates a scene, but it's what the right thing to do is. So I think there's never a wrong time to do the right thing.
And that stands out to you
as that was a mark in what I need to be. Mm-hmm. And did I slip up between then and now? Of course, numerous times. But I think that really taught me, and that was one of the times that I remember my father saying, you know, whether it's sports or anything like that, they would tell you, "Hey, proud, great job, good game, good goal," whatever it might be. This time he looked at me and he said, "That's one of the biggest thing I'm proud of you about is standing up for your friend."
That's good.
And so that was a mark, because if my dad says he's proud of you for that,
correct,
that's a big deal.
Correct. So what do you enjoy most about being a leader?
Development of others. Mm-hmm. So it's about people. If you're a leader and you don't say people is the most important thing, I think you need to recheck yourself.
Yeah, agreed.
If you say the business is the most important thing, well, obviously, without the business, we can't have the people, we can't have the customers. So that's a given, that's underlying. But how you get the business to grow and to become more profitable is through people and developing people. So when others have success, whether that's staying in the same position, and they're a sales professional and they have the greatest year of their life, and they are able to have income, or you get the call that from a bank for a loan approval for one of your employees to buy their first home, or you get the pictures of the newborn baby, which of course we send a onesie with Rose branded onesies for the child. We got to get them started early. Yeah. We start recruiting at a young age.
Yes.
It's not. We don't have them working or anything. I want to make sure we preface that.
Just to be clear.
But just to be clear, they're not working. We're just giving them materials to get into the mind.
Not that they couldn't work.
They could, but they're not going to work for us until they're above the age of 21. I think if you focus on people, that's where you're going to find your greatest success.
Amen to that. So I have to then ask you, what do you think the biggest challenge? It might be the same answer.
People, whether it's finding the people that fit, because it's. I think every individual will fit, most. If you have the wrong mindset, or you're a criminal or something like that, that's always your mindset. You're probably not going to fit many places. But I think there's always a fit for everybody in an organization. It's just, the tough part, especially as these young kids coming out of college or coming out of high school or trade school or whatever it might be, finding the organization that you mesh with the people within it. Yeah. And it's not about the what the company does. And I think that's what maybe young people get. Maybe they had that same mentality I had when, why am I getting into pest control? I went to college. Then you find out the people in the business are phenomenal. Yeah. Not just the people at Rose, the people in our entire industry are phenomenal. Yeah. And they give this, the shirt off their back to help you. And I think the more we can get people that mesh with our core values, integrity, service, growth, and profit, if they especially adhere to that first one with integrity and character, they're going to mesh well. And with finding those people, I wish I could say it's easy. It's not.
No, it's not. And I think trying to vet that out is because it really is. It's a marriage of some sorts where it can't just be a fit on your end. It's got to be a mutual fit. Yep. And because not every place is for everyone.
A lot of times it's a very transient culture right now in jobs, not just in locations. Yep. And so a lot of people, and the whole goal is in our business is to find that person that we can groom, probably not the right term to use, to mold for the first 12 months, because once they see our business and our company for 12 months, they're in there. Yep. And then next thing you know, they're on, 10 years later, they're looking back going, oh, I thought I was just going to be a part-time job.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, are you looking for people right now?
Absolutely.
Rose?
We're always looking for people.
Rose Pest Solutions. They're looking for good quality people that believe in integrity,
Service, growth, and profit.
boom.
Whether you're in Chicagoland, Indianapolis, Louisville, Lafayette,
Yep.
Michigan City, where else we got?
Yep.
Milwaukee,
Yep.
and coming to a big city near you.
All right. All right. Good. That little commercial for your pipeline.
There we go.
Yes. So who have been some of the leaders you've looked up to over the years and why?
Well, I kind of go through different. Obviously, my first hero was my father, but going beyond, I always remember. I guess he was more my hero and leader I looked up to because he taught me how to be a dad, and I think that's the most important job I have.
I think
is
it's
being a
most important
father.
leadership role.
Yeah,
I'd say.
if I do a bad job there, forget about what you do in business.
Yeah.
You've broken it. I remember I was a cross country runner, so he knew nothing about running. He could not. I mean, I would probably run a mile and he would still be on lap one. But that's okay. He wasn't overweight. He was in shape, but just couldn't run.
Yeah.
But he would always have his thing. And I remember at the start line, he'd always say, "Get out quick." Well, yes, but no, because you don't want to sprint to start a cross country race. You want to be efficient as you go for it. But so I just would always laugh. And if he'd miss a race, which he only missed one in my 7 years running cross country, and you always look for it. Where's Dad?
Yeah, and don't you think you brought something that kind of has resonated with me really recently, and that was thinking about going to a cross country race. It's probably not the best weather.
No, it's not a
and all
big
you're
fan
doing is
spectator
watching
sport.
People running.
Yeah.
Well, my parents came to everything too, even my golf matches, and in Delaware where I grew up, it'd be in March, and it wasn't that pleasant.
Right.
And they drive an hour to walk 9 holes, and as a kid, you're like, well, of course. I mean, I'm entertaining. I'm good. And now as a parent, you look back at that and you realize how much that meant.
Yeah.
That was huge. So your father is
He
one of
would
the
be my
leaders.
first leader. And then as I grew into it, my different roles, there's a gentleman by the name of Rick Lane who taught me how to be people focused. Even more so than, we all want to say we're people focused, but when you're a naive 22, 23-year-old coming into a leadership role over people that are twice your age, learning how to really get the buy-in from them was tough when I remember as a 23, 24-year-old. So when I was 28, I got to work with a gentleman by named Rick Lane, and he taught me, sometimes you just pick up the phone, and I'll pick up the phone and call Brian and say, "Hey, Brian, you might think you're calling about work. Yeah, what'd I do? What do I need to do?"
Right.
"No, I was just calling to see how you're doing."
Yep.
He goes, "Always do the howdy calls."
Yep. Yeah. It's
And-
not rocket science.
Nope.
It does take
And-
intention though.
Yes, you have to be, and I still struggle with that because you got to stop yourself and say, "Have I talked to
Yep.
Jim or whoever?"
Well,
Sally.
you're even good like that with me.
Well, I
Like,
try.
Every once in a while, you'll reach out, and you might not always say the nicest thing.
Well, I got to
But at
harass
least-
people too. That's my personality.
Yes, I know, but it means a lot. It means a lot.
Well, and so that's what I learned from him, and then moving on from him, working with Bob. Bob Dold and the Dold family, Bob Dold Sr., Chief, and Judy are just salt of the earth people. I always tell Chief is 1 month younger than my father would be if he was alive today. So when I look at Chief, I see semblances of my own father, and ironically, my own mother and Judy, because they're about the same height. They're barely touching 5 feet tall. So
That explains it.
yeah, exactly. So that's why Bob and I are virtually the same height. Yeah, we're vertically challenged.
Yeah.
But when you look at who they are and what their core is, who they are as people, it comes down to do the right thing. Always err on the side of the individual because you're probably not going to go wrong. And if they breach that trust, will you learn a lesson? Sure, you'll be a little more cautious next time, maybe investigate a little bit more. But I think if you believe in people and trust, empower them to make the right decision, then you're going to find success.
How about a leader you've never met?
Well, does it count if I really didn't meet him? I shook his hand, and that was Ronald Reagan.
Okay.
That goes back many years. But I was in the young insert political party name club in high school or in junior high. and when he was president, and got to take a trip to D.C. and we got to shake his hand. And the reason is not for a political affiliation, but when you look at what he did, go back before governor and presidency, being the head of the union when he was just kind of forced into that role, and what he did for the actors.
A lot of people wouldn't actually know that.
Oh, about Ron. Oh, I know a lot about Ronald Reagan.
No, but a lot of people wouldn't. They would, Republican. And at one point,
he's a Democrat.
He was the head of the union.
Yeah, he was a Democrat. And I think I think in today's day and age, we get so tied into parties. It's not about parties. It's about what you believe, and then who believes the most like you. Yeah. Whether that's a Republican or a Democrat or an independent. Yeah. Pick the one that you believe the same. Yeah. And don't listen to the rhetoric that's the splash news on TV.
That's easier said than done.
Yeah, I agree. And unfortunately, social media has helped out with that.
Threw a bunch of fuel on that fire.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Light a match and watch it burn. Yep. But Ronald Reagan, when you look at how he was with people, you look at Tip O'Neill, very, at that time, strong Democrat, Speaker of the House, who was probably his closest friend, Ronald Reagan. Drastically opposed on the political spectrum. Yep. But he taught you how to be a leader and work with others regardless of your differences. Yep. Find the common ground. Yep. And I think that's maybe a lesson to our nation.
Well, and to just anybody, because by the way, no one is going to think the way you do.
No.
And as I've been thinking about a lot recently for multiple reasons, you can either be right or you can be in a relationship.
Yep.
And
is that why I hear giggling to the side?
I don't know if that was my wife or J-Mo or both of them, but they probably both have reasons to laugh, But it is true because you're never right 100% of the time.
No,
you just aren't. So
and we're guys, so it's probably less than 50% of the time.
We're limited.
Yeah,
we're limited.
We are.
How about a time when you were a leader, that you can share with us that you made a mistake, and you wish you could go back to that time?
Well, you didn't tell me that question would come. I've made a bunch. Well, okay, a fairly recent one, and this was it had nothing to do really. Well, it in turn impacted people, but we have an operating system that we work with in our business, and this was back in 2018. We had made the decision. Now, granted, we went through research and tried to shoot holes in this thing. Yep. We involved a lot of people, but in the end, it's my call to make the switch to a operating system. And it was fine at the start until we got through about 45 days and realized the operating system, those that were supporting it, were not sending invoices to our customers.
Oh, that's a minor detail.
It's a minor detail, yes. That impacts cash flow.
Talk about bottom line.
Yeah. That's beyond the bottom line.
That's before the bottom line.
Yeah.
You don't have a top line, there is no bottom line.
That's right. Oh, it was coming in the top. Unfortunately, we just weren't charging for it.
Yeah. Our AR looks good, except we've never invoiced at all.
Zero. That's odd. So we finally figured that out and immediately had to. So all that investment, time, training that led into it, and the people's frustration. Unfortunately, the people really liked the imagery of the new system. Yeah. But they couldn't handle our business model. Yeah. So therefore, it taught me a good lesson. We're gonna let someone else be a guinea pig in our similar model before we jump like that.
So then, as a leader, that obviously made a mistake.
Oh, admit to it, and went to the entire team and said, hey, I made a mistake. Going to this, we're going to correct it. I promise you that. And I promise them when we get to the backside of this, we're going to be much better off for it.
Yep.
And in the end, what ended up happening is every individual that was with our company then, it's with us now, is better off, both financially and productivity-wise.
Yep.
So in the end, it worked out. Yep. And I think that's the biggest fear is don't let a bad decision linger.
Right.
When you find out, correct it.
Yeah. Well, and it's an opportunity for you as a leader to show vulnerability,
absolutely,
and humility, which I think is really key to gaining buy-in of other people. When you're authentic, you're humble, and you're vulnerable.
Well, and I think humility is something that you should be common trait amongst leaders, because I think if you think you're holier than thou,
Yeah.
You might have people work for you, but they're just there for a paycheck. They're not there
Correct.
because they believe.
Right.
So the hope is that we can get as many people believing that, number one, personally, I care about each individual. And then number two, I also care about their success and their growth and their family's growth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. So we're going to kind of transition a little bit from leadership specifically to purpose, because, as we think about BUKU Branded and, our 100% give back to literacy, obviously we are beyond the bottom line. And the bottom line is not about necessarily profit and putting that in the treasure chest and watching it grow. And so when you think about purpose, how would you define it?
So when you think from whether it's a business model or in your personal life, I was sitting at Mass last evening and actually thinking about it. What is each individual's purpose? And then for me, my primary purpose is to be the provider and the supporter and the cheerleader for my family, to make sure my children have an opportunity to be successful. Then it's on them. You can't do everything.
Well, I like how you said opportunity to, not be successful.
No, well, that's up to them.
That's correct.
Whether the success comes in many different forms. It's not just a monetary thing.
Yeah.
Are they happy? And yeah, I'm a happy person. Am I happy and glowing every single day? No,
Right.
Of course not. But
You're pretty consistent.
But the one thing is,
Especially your hair.
It's all about the hair.
It's very consistent.
It is, and it's
very consistent.
hey, I mean,
it's very.
I would agree that yours is very consistent as well.
Thanks.
And for those that are not watching the video, he's bald.
Yeah. I'm bald up here and nowhere else.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Hair is growing everywhere except for on my head.
Yeah, you need to get your ears trimmed.
Really?
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
Because I take that serious. Like the last thing I want is hairy ears. I'm serious.
I know,
like,
that
I'm
is a
feeling
sign of
around there
old
all
age.
the time. Like your ears are really sensitive,
Yeah.
and so you can really. What's beautiful about that is you can kind of sense the hair.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's why you get the ear hair trimmer. And
Well,
that's
I'm not trimming anything because once you start trimming it, poof.
You wax it? Or what do you do?
I'm not telling you all that.
Oh,
We'll share that with you later. I
okay.
can't share everything.
We turned from purpose-driven leadership to
hair.
Hair.
Well, we're human.
We're
That's the beautiful part about this.
But so that is my main purpose. Now, as a leader in a business, I think you have to your business has to be set up, and thankfully for me, the Doles had the course set up.
So it's got to be a priority.
Yes, and you really have to look at it and say, what do we want to do what's the core of our business?
Who do we want to be?
And it starts. What are we? Well, yes, you're in pest control. Well, that's what you do.
Yep.
How do you do it?
Yep.
And that's when we came up. When you think about our mission statement, to create long-lasting relationships with coworkers, in the proper order, and customers.
Yep.
So without teammates and employees, we can't have customers.
Yep.
So that's our purpose. Then how do we do that? Well, we do that by finding people of high levels of integrity and character, people that want to grow, not just in the business, but with their family, that want to serve. I just mixed them up. Look at that. Serve others and serve themselves and their family, then grow, and then profit. And that's not profit just for the company. That's profit and comes in different ways.
Correct.
I always say our objectives are built in 4 key areas: our customers, our employees, our communities, and our environment. So they have to serve. Those 4 objectives are in service each and every one of those.
And it sounds like you're talking about that a lot.
Yes.
Those are North Stars.
It all comes back to that.
And I can validate that. I've seen it now for probably, to work with Bernie's Book Bank and now BUKU, probably 13 years.
Yep.
And I think, I believe, easy for me to say, but I believe that ultimately businesses, companies, families are stronger when a common denominator is purpose. And you got to be intentional about it, and you got to weave that into every day. But I think you ultimately win. So thanks for sharing that.
Sure.
How do you think that Well, let me first. When did you first realize living with purpose was important to you?
I would probably say when the minute, well, I think there was always an underlying for you as your parents instill that in you. Well, hopefully your parents are the first ones that can. They don't necessarily always, but they're the first ones that have the ability to instill it in you. So I think some of it stuck. And then you hit college and then you realize, woohoo, party. Oh, wait, shoot, got to get grades. Okay, here we go. And then you get that first job and then you're kind of lost on your own. But I think that's part of life.
Yeah.
And then when does the light kick on? Well, for me, it was probably the birth of my first child.
Yeah.
When you realize, woohoo.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? And were we still Catholic? Absolutely, we were. Did we go to church every Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
Self-admitted. So, Father Ignatius, if you're listening, I do go to church every Sunday.
Forgiven, I'm
yeah,
sure.
yeah. So I've gone to confession for that.
Okay.
But we didn't make it every Sunday, and then we said, okay, we've got a child now. We've got to make sure we're bringing this child up the right way. Mm-hmm. And so, our kids know it's, we're letting them make their own decisions. So, are they going to mass every Sunday? No.
Yeah.
But we make sure we're setting the example. So it's about servant leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you walk the walk, people will follow.
Yeah, that's a good answer, by the way. Not that there's a bad one, but I do think that is, if your mindset does not automatically change one way or the other when that baby is born, I don't know if you have a heartbeat.
Yeah, it's your whole life has changed.
It really has, and people say that, and you really don't know what that means
until you have one.
Until you have one, and the also what's fascinating me about that in children is you have one and you love them so much, and you don't. It's hard for you to believe that you could love another one,
and then you do,
and then that one comes, and all of a sudden you find it, and but yeah, that's.
We had the fun
I
one
can relate
though,
to that.
because so we had our oldest, and then 2 years later, and here's a little backstory on Curtis. So there's some good juice. So my wedding song for my wife Lisa and I's first song was a song called "One Boy, One Girl" by Colin Ray. Maybe most people probably won't know it. He's a country artist. Mm-hmm. I listen to all genres of music, mm-hmm. so whether it's hip hop or country or
I find that hard
modern
to believe,
day
but I'll believe you.
Tech, heavy metal from the 80s.
Really? Really? So like, who's a good? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
But like, who's your favorite hip hop artist?
Well, NWO would have been
really
NWA. Excuse me. So Eazy-E, Ice Cube. I listened to a lot of that running. So that was my running music.
Yeah.
When I was a kid.
Yeah.
My mom didn't know.
Yeah.
Because that's when you had to be 18 in order to buy the.
Well, Ziggy's 11. He's my son. Our son. He's a hockey player, and he always wants to listen to music on the way to a game. And sure enough, it's Notorious B.I.G.
Oh yeah.
And then there I am,
Tupac,
seeing him over there.
Eminem's pretty good one.
Eminem's really good.
And he can still do it.
He can still
52, something like that. So he's my age. Yeah. So I like that. I like old rappers.
All right.
But so that was our song, and in that song, it talks about their life and that they got married, and then they had twins. Well, I said we sang that song into fruition, and our second baby was also a third baby. So we had identical twins. So our wedding song came true.
So learning.
Be careful mixing up.
Be careful what your wedding song is.
Yes. And whether it's good or bad, just make sure it's going to come true. So, we had we went from showing all the love to one to having to do it for three right away. Right. And then we stopped.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So that was a lot. And we weren't good planners because we had we had our son who was 2, and we had a 2-month-old puppy yellow lab.
That's smart.
When my wife gave birth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I was traveling all the time.
Yeah.
So yes, I was a hero back then.
My
name was a cuss word.
Were. So purpose. How do you think that shows up in your leadership at home and at work? And I think you kind of answered this somewhat, but you as an individual and a leader, within the culture of Rose or within your culture at home? Like, where do you think that shows up most for you?
I would just say in the way when an employee has an issue, and this is where Bob and I just were talking about this yesterday. When you think about what we do at Rose, and we're not trying to claim it, but we can do things because we're a family-owned company.
Yep.
We can do things a little different than your publicly traded NASDAQ or NYSE company.
Yep.
They have shareholders to answer to, or you're a private equity. You got returns to try and make in a 5 to 7 year window.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to make 100% people-focused decisions, whereas we can then listen, have a heart. Everybody can, but it's whether they do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's one thing I'm proud of at Rose. When our employees have an issue, we can listen and try to help them mitigate. We can't solve the issue. We can give ideas, support to try and get them through, whether that's a personal tragedy. We've got an employee that her father's, he's 85, but he's got blood cancer, and it's getting to the hospice stage, and she's worried about her job. I said, no, first and foremost, let's worry about your dad. And her dad was in the background, and I could hear him. I want my pancakes. I said, the most important thing you can do right now is get that man some pancakes and make sure he's happy. And don't give him that fake syrup. I want the real stuff. I want real butter. Don't give him that margarine. Give him the real butter.
Yeah.
I said, the most important thing you can do is make sure your dad's life is what he wants it to be right now, because let him live.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the difference of focused on people and a purpose as opposed to profit.
Yeah, and
profit will come because you do that.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to kind of comment on, is that it seems like a common thread throughout all this is that you understand fully that your bottom line would not feel as good as what your bottom line is today if you did not have a culture of purpose and lead with purpose, and we're there for people like that.
I think when you lead with purpose, you're not in it for a quick return.
Yep.
And nor should, and I don't think in business, if your main goal is hopefully growth and longevity of your company, whether that be to grow it to a point that you sell it or not, but if it is to have your company be long lasting, if you're focused on a purpose and you're making decisions, not short term, but for the future, you're going to find success. And it might not be in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years, but all of a sudden you'll turn around after 10 years and go, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Are we 3 times the size we used to be? Well, absolutely we are.
And more sustainable.
Yes.
Yeah.
And your people want to stay.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen to that. So as a leader right now, what are you working on yourself to be a more purpose-driven leader? Is there a specific thing?
Well,
I know I have.
There's actually a book which I brought to show you.
Oh,
but,
books are important?
Their books are important.
Reading's important?
Reading is important.
Oh, my gosh. We got the right first guest.
I brought 2 books even.
2 books?
Well, 2 books. I think one thing you wanted to ask me, but you failed to, was...
that was going to be one of my questions. Is there a question that I have not asked that you'd like to answer?
Was what, what book kind of should every leader at least read to get a baseline?
Good question.
And I think for me, it's an easy read, because reading is not my favorite thing to do. I can read, but reading is not my favorite thing. Called The Servant Leader.
Servant Leader.
Kim Blanchard writes a ton of business books. Most of my books that I read are business focused. I'm not into fiction. I love history.
You got enough fiction going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, that's interpersonal fiction. So, but when I looked at this, it goes back and it talks, whether you're religious or not, it talks about the greatest servant leader in the history of mankind, which is Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. So, wash feet. We're in the Lenten season now. And if we should all work to be a man like that, whether you believe or not. You want to talk about purpose driven? He had one singular purpose, and he was focused on it.
Yeah.
So that was like my core. But I'm always trying to figure out, okay, how can I get better? What do I need to focus on? How can I be a better leader for my team to allow them to succeed? So the coaching habit, which I just found out about this book 2 weeks ago and bought it, and it arrived by the time I got back from my trip.
You're not done yet?
No, I'm only halfway through.
I mean, what are you doing?
I know. I need to get a little better.
Get on it.
But it's talking about the 7 key questions. And instead of being a leader, because I've been doing this for, it's 30 years. So do you have a lot of answers? Sure. But by simply providing an answer, is that helping the situation?
Yeah.
So are we asking questions so that people will find the answer on their own, which then helps them to develop and teaches them a skill to find answers on their own? Not that you won't help and support and
Correct.
lead them down the path,
Right.
but always asking when you're asking, I'm out talking to you and you give me an issue that's going on, and instead of trying to resolve the issue, just say, what else?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they start talking through it and they go, you know what I need to do? I need to go talk to Sally.
Yeah.
Because that's probably, if we work together, we can probably get this taken care of.
Yeah.
That sounds like a pretty good plan. But, let me know if I can assist.
Right.
And then,
And it's so it's so simple,
yep.
but it's not intuitive. And I think especially for dudes,
Yes.
we want to solve.
We lack emotion.
Right. We lack emotion. That's correct. And we want to solve everything. And so I really appreciate that. That's good stuff. So would you say then, it's said a different way, that you got to be a giver first?
Yes. Yeah. If you could say, giver is different. It doesn't, I truthfully don't think first and foremost it means any monetary.
Correct.
Giver means time. I think is
Time.
the most important value, gift that we have as people.
Mm-hmm.
Whether everybody's a leader in some regard, whether that's at home, between siblings, there's always going to be one person that's a leader at a given time. So it's
I'm
always
well aware of that.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
So time is important, but also advice. Or I heard John Wooden, he says, I don't give advice. I give opinions. I give feedback, but I'll never give advice. That was a John Wooden quote.
That's interesting.
He
What do
says,
you think he meant by that?
I think he means don't give the answer.
Yeah, you can give your side of it.
Show the map
Right.
and show them the opportunities. It's the old fork in the road, and see which one they choose. And he goes on to talk about Bill Walton, because Bill Walton was his pet project.
Yeah, that's a project.
But when you get to the end of his
Yep.
4 years, back when they actually stayed for 4 years, Bill Walton changed. He was always the haircut to start.
Yeah.
John Wooden was by the
Yeah.
way, a Purdue graduate. Just
Yeah.
pointing that out.
Oh, okay.
But coached UCLA to, what was it,
Yeah.
10, 11 national championships. But by the time he got Bill Walton got to the end of his 4 years, his best friend and father figure was
Yep.
John Wooden.
Yep.
Because he led him down the path. Now, did he change? No. Bill Walton was still the crazy Bill Walton.
Yeah.
But when you talk about a humble person, he was
Yeah.
absolutely humble.
Yeah. Which we all will be eventually.
Absolutely.
No one goes undefeated. I'm really excited to hear your answer to this one. What leader, purpose-driven leader, dead or alive, would you like to have a cup of coffee with or play a round of golf?
This one will shock you because I was thinking about this one yesterday, and this is a recency bias, I guess, because of the unfortunate passing of Jesse Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
So we would oppose each other on the political spectrum. However, when you think about an individual that had so much passion for his beliefs and did such an amazing work for civil rights alongside Martin Luther,
Yeah, Martin Luther King.
yeah. So
Yep.
when you look at those two, what they were doing together back in
So
the
Jesse
60s.
Jackson is your answer.
Well, when you think about that, if it's just
like a
me,
round of golf or a cup of
I would
coffee?
just sit
Which
down and
one?
talk to him because I would want to know about him,
He's seen a thing or two.
all of his experiences,
Yep.
because I think that can shape anybody. And it's not about taking a side; it's about understanding how did a man have so much passion to
Sustained
over
decades.
probably since he was 17, I think it was, when he really got involved in the civil rights
Yeah.
issues, which were massive issues back then. So for almost 70 years, he was so passionate and never lost it.
Mhm.
But there's a man of character, a man of honor, a man of God.
Mhm.
So I think you take all of that together, that's who wouldn't want to sit and talk with that individual. So I never got that chance, but I think he would be a very interesting conversation that could help me.
Yeah. There's probably numerous.
Oh, there's tons of leaders I would love to talk to.
Who would be second after that?
I'd love to talk to Ronald Reagan more. One, Harriet Tubman would be an interesting one.
Love that. She was a flat out badass.
I mean, when you talk about someone that would not take no for an answer.
Yep.
And it's not about what they did, it's about who they were.
Yeah.
Because to have that mentality is what I'm searching for.
Yeah.
How can we be better? How can I have a no quit attitude? Not that I'm saying I do, but I'm sure she definitely succeeded a whole lot more than I did.
Right. Well, it's interesting you say about no quit. What's interesting about that, I think, is that you would never see that on the outside, but I'm sure that with every purpose-driven leader, there have been many moments in the middle of the night
absolutely
they wanted to quit.
Yep, or doubt.
Me included.
Yep.
But that's why they call it obsession.
Yes, exactly.
And you can't ignore it. And obsession gets a bad rap. That person's obsessed. And that's a negative thing. I think it's a positive thing.
I think it flares its head on both sides.
Correct. Just like anything else.
I mean, right? My level of I'm not a perfectionist, although I have perfectionisms in certain things.
Certain. Look at this man. Look at this man right here.
Image is key, and I tried to teach my boys that. And it's not about how much you spend on clothing; it's how you make your body image, how you present yourself, walking upright, sitting straight.
That's interesting. So just as an aside.
Oh, I slouch sometimes too, but
so
I'm getting close to the microphone. So
do you think I care about my image?
Yes, you have an image.
Yeah, but is it
outwardly your passion? No.
Do you feel like because what I hear you saying is that how you present yourself is really important.
It's the first impression.
Of course, you and I present
differently.
Very differently.
Yep.
But just from a learning perspective, what does my image
two
say
things.
to you?
So two things. One, if someone never speaks to you, your image would, unless you had something that said BUKU on your sleeve, just a normal guy. What you can have through image is when you walk in a room, people will look and go, there's a leader. Just how, regardless of how you look, how you walk in, your posture, how you reach out and shake someone's hand.
It is kind of interesting how you can tell that.
Yes. You can tell who's a leader and who just who tries to sneak in.
Funny story about image. When Christy and I got married, my
Did she try to correct it?
No.
Oh.
But my son, Ziggy, who was 7 at the time, said, "Hey, what am I wearing at this wedding?" And I'm like, first of all,
who said you're invited?
First of all, who said you're invited? Second of all, really? That's what you're thinking about? And I said, well, that's interesting. What?
He came over to my house. I was talking to him.
Yeah, and he goes, well, I want to look like a little gentleman.
Good.
And I said, well, what do you think a little gentleman looks like? He said, well, suit and tie. And I said, well, you do realize that the majority of the criminals on this earth wear a suit and tie, right? I said, it does matter. You should think about it. And be honest with you, I actually think about it more than you might think. But being a little gentleman is about what's in here.
Yes.
And what you do.
Correct.
Not how you look. But it does help.
Absolutely.
It does.
The old adage, Andre Agassi, the tennis player, he had the commercials for Nike, images, everything.
The hair.
Well, image is important, but because it's the first impression of someone.
Yeah.
But you can quickly lose that based on who you are.
Yes.
So the lasting impression is more important, but the first impression allows you to create a lasting impression.
That's some wisdom we're dropping right there. Boom. All right.
There you go. You're going to put that on a shirt?
This might be a tough one. As you look at the human race today, what do you think the bottom line should be? And I'll add a little commentary to this, because personally I think we're on a race to nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And we're so, especially in this country, we're so
polarized.
Just, well, yes, that's true. But we're so like just focused on success and what's going on today and reacting on a daily basis. But I don't think we ever pick our head up and say, where do we want to be as a human race 100 years from now, 500 years from now? Especially with AI, we won't get into that.
Although I'm really gotten into this Chat GPT thing. It's fun.
Well, yeah, I understand that. And I'm not trying to be an old fuddy-duddy, but I think we're going to think our way right into oblivion. So I'll let you answer the question.
Okay. We got your opinion.
Yeah, I just want to get my opinion in there. That's why I asked that question to begin with. But what do you think our bottom line should be as a human race?
One is faith in each other. I think if we start there and forget the politics, we're talking worldwide here. Yep. Forget the politics, the culture. If we have faith in our fellow human and have a conversation. So faith in each other, I think, is the shortest answer I could give you. And then that leads to different things. I think right now we lack, when someone's walking, I'll do this for an example, because we have a fun interaction every morning at the Thornton's gas station off of Lake Cook and Skokie Boulevard. There you go. There's a shout out for Thornton's. Is that where
you get your Diet Coke?
That is where I get my Diet Dr. Pepper. Yes.
Wait a minute.
Diet Dr. Pepper. So I've gone away from the Diet Coke, although I still will drink Diet Coke.
Since when was this?
Oh, it's been going on for a couple of years. You just haven't inquired. You just haven't had the purpose to call me.
I'll check in next time. What are you drinking now?
Well, no, at night it's totally different. It's Diet 7-Up with a squeezed lime. That's.
I've started to insert a Fanta here and there.
Well, Fanta's not bad. As long as they have Diet Fanta. Yeah, creamsicle.
Sounds like dessert.
I'll get that with the energy drink in the morning. But no, so we have a good interaction. It's the same people every morning. One of us will hold the door for each other. Yeah. We always have the conversation. That's what we need to rinse and repeat throughout the world, is opening the door for each other, two men opening the door for each other, a woman, a man opening for a woman. Yeah. A woman can open for a man too. Yeah. But I'm, as being brought up to be a gentleman, I'll always force myself.
Little gentleman?
Yeah, little gentleman. So I think that's where it starts. And so I think where we probably get depressed and we lose our focus is that we say, well, that's, my gosh, it's too big of an obstacle, so forget about it. But as an individual, we can try to do simple things to help each other, whether that's, and it's not about giving money, but, who you support from a charitable aspect. Is it purpose-driven charity? Or do they take a big percentage for administrative? Generally, when you find the one that works, then send your passion to helping them, whether that's donations to Bernie's Book Bank or buying your company branded items from BUKU Branded.
Or just sharing your network.
To allow someone else to share the message and get it out. I think the little things, if we just stay focused on that, we'll find in the end, I think everything comes full circle. And now, unfortunately, in our lifetimes, it's probably not going to, at least in yours and mine. Yeah. I don't think we're getting off this social media train that, instant media, whether that's true, back how we would all love, those of us that have experienced it, to go back to 4 televisions, to 4 TV stations, because Fox came in at the end. Yeah. They were not there when we first started watching TV. You only had ABC, NBC, and CBS. But we had Dan Rather, Walter Cronkite was in there. He was right at his end. Yeah, he ended when I was probably still not cool. Couldn't understand him. Peter Jennings, but they would tell us the news. They wouldn't tell us their opinion. Yeah, they just tell us what happened.
Correct. Well, if I were to wrap up everything I just heard you say, I think what Ted Lasso said would represent that, and that is, be curious, not judgmental.
Yeah, man. Be a goldfish.
Yeah, correct. And so thanks for sharing that with me. That's a big one. That's a tough one. So we're going to transition a little bit now as we come down the stretch. Since we're here with Beyond the Bottom Line with BUKU Branded, and obviously the mission of BUKU Branded is to give 100% of our profits back to literacy. We're going to talk about reading a little bit.
Good.
Okay?
That's good.
All right. So you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but what are you currently reading?
So right now it's called The Coaching Habit. Say less, ask more, and change the way you lead forever by Michael Bungay Stanier.
Yep.
And then obviously we showed the book, but The Servant Leader is a mainstay on my desk.
Yep.
It always stays there by Ken Blanchard.
What books along the way have you read that have made you think about the bottom line a little differently? I mean, those
Servant Leader was the first one that really altered it. Chestnut Checkers.
Chestnut Checkers.
So we're in a long game. Chess or checkers is a very quick game. It's over. Day in, day out. That's a day-to-day mindset, as opposed to chess player, who's more about strategy and how do we get there.
Oh, chess, not checkers.
Not chest. Chess.
Chess, not
As
checkers.
in the
I
game
thought you
chess.
said chestnut checkers.
No, not chestnut.
Actually,
chest.
that's a great band name.
I will pause.
Chestnut Checkers. I would
maybe
probably say
maybe from the 50s.
I'm thinking a bluegrass band. Maybe.
Yes.
Chestnut Checkers.
You do look like a banjo player.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's not a compliment, really. Have you seen banjo players? Ding 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 ding.
But so chestnut, not
Chestnut.
not. I will pause. Chess.
Thank you.
Not checkers.
Very good.
Is a book, and I've read it and had my entire team read it because it really describes what we're trying to do.
Brilliant title, by the way.
It is, and the mindset. Most of these authors, when you think about the book, you're like, why didn't I think of that? Because what they're talking about.
I think that on a daily basis.
Yeah, exactly. And then you always go, I could have made a lot of money off that book.
Right, and giving it all away.
And giving it all away to literacy.
Yes, that's correct.
And to BUKU
You're coming
branded.
along. You're coming along.
You've got me trained. But that book really talks about the long play, and whether it's business or in family life. It's kind of interesting. My wife has a lot of friends. I have, we're a typical guy. Guys have a very small network of friends. Women have a typical.
Well, you are generalizing.
Yes, I am generalizing here.
Which
women typically have more friends. Now, you probably have a ton of friends, so you're the anomaly, but that's okay. But one of her friends, with all the kids trying to get into college and the competitiveness and all that, and I always say, when you look back when our kids were doing the same thing, God bless them, they got into where they wanted to go. But sometimes it's just don't get so consumed with what's going on right now, because you'll be in the right spot. Promise you, whether you believe in God or not, the entity will put you in the right spot where you're supposed to be. And then
you might not always like it.
No, because the answer you ask for might be no.
Correct.
So I think that's really what chestnut checkers, not chestnut checkers.
Yes.
Has taught me is, really look down the road and keep that 5 to 7 year vision plan.
Well, I think just as a people too, like if you think about how much that philosophy flies in the face of where we are right now.
Yes.
It's right now, it's me, it's everything, it's right now. It's
Amazon, same day delivery.
Right. When is my title going to change? All that. And, but I think that'd be a great book for anyone to read.
Yes.
Leader or not. So if you were to write a book.
You asked me what title would I give it?
Well, what would it be about first? Okay.
Hold on. I got to make sure I get the title right. Well, it'd be about transformation, me personally. So, which can then apply.
Okay.
So the title would be Transformation, moving from a my world mentality to a legacy mentality.
Mm-hmm.
So,
like it.
The difference between the my world mentality is you're only consumed with yourself or the closest people around you, closest friends, closest family. And then when you think about a legacy, well, that's if you were to leave the earth today, would people remember you? And it's not about you. It's would they remember how you made them feel?
So kind of like live your eulogy, not your resume.
Yes. I think the more important thing is not what you did, but how you made people feel.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can, not everybody's going to be your friend, and not everybody's going to like what you are and what you do.
That's correct.
So you got to get over that fact.
You live long enough, you'll figure that one
out. Yeah. But I think the more we can focus on, am I doing the things that puts a feeling in somebody that either motivates them to be better,
correct,
makes them feel happy, sometimes makes them feel sad, but in the end they learn and they become better. what feelings do you really cause people to have, and is it a positive by the time you're all said and done?
Yeah.
So that's kind of my
I
transformation
like it.
story.
I'll buy it.
There you go.
I'll buy it.
I've got the title.
Okay.
The rest is
I'll
not
pre-buy
written. Okay. Well, give me about 30 years.
Okay.
And
so, as we start to wrap, I want to say a few things. One, I've learned a lot today, and a lot about you that I didn't know. We've spent a decent amount of time.
I know you just never asked me.
I know. Well, maybe we should have a podcast every.
Yeah, there you go.
week.
Every third week, it's Curtis time.
Yeah. But I appreciate your time. You have above and beyond been the best guest we've ever had on Beyond.
I say that I
Bottom line.
appreciate that, but I am the first guest, so I will take that with a grain of salt.
So thank you. And we'll wrap up with one last question.
Sure.
When it's all said and done, and you might have just talked about this, but when it's all said and done, how would you define your life's bottom line in one sentence?
Are my children fulfilled, and do they have a strong core belief in God?
Amen.
And if they have that, then I think from what I was meant to be put on this planet, I did my number one job. And, to follow up on that is, did I help make others' lives better? And if I did that, those two things, I think you can. I don't want to be put in a box, so burn me because I'm cheap. So I figured that'll be cheaper, and then you
That's
can just
on brand.
I just think, and then you could just pour me in the toilet and flush.
Well,
now, granted, the government gets a little concerned about
We'll
that.
sprinkle you on some golf course.
That'd be nice. Maybe Augusta, or are you just gonna some muni?
Yeah, you're not Augusta, buddy.
But I could dream. Maybe I'd come back.
Would you really want your ashes spread it?
No. Just your backyard's fine.
Okay, good. Well, thank you very much. I love you, man. I consider you a friend first, and you're a mentor to me, whether you know it or not. You've been a great example for me, and just want to appreciate you. Thank you for your trust and really just your friendship. And your fellowship.
Thanks for your passion for kids and reading, because I can tell you, if the lasting message is we can get even 5% more of
Amen.
kids 6 to 16
Yep.
reading at a much higher level, their chances of success are through the roof.
Preach.
Amen.
Preach. Thank you.
Absolutely.